Hey, Rocket Johnny here with another PC build video. This will be the last video on the hardware side, and as always there will be links to all the devices and components in the video description. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the PC build and related videos. So last time we got the motherboard installed in the case, got our AIO Cooler installed, we got our graphics card installed, and want to talk about the next part. I'm not going to bore you guys with watching me plug stuff in. We've already done that, but I do want to talk about that real quick. So once you have those components installed in the case, then you're really left with hooking everything up and then managing all your cables. So this is where the manuals, especially the manual for your motherboard, is going to be your best friend. There's lots of different things to plug in, and I'll just kind of show you what we did for this particular board. We've got our main ATX power cable here, and coming from the power supply, we've got some fan power cables up here. There's a power cable for our AIO cooler for the pump up here as well, and hidden where you can't really see is a CPU power cables at the top of the board there. And on the other side, it might be a little hard to see, but we've got our USB cables going to the front panel connected. We've got more fan power cables as well as the RGB cables for our lighting, and then audio front panel connections as well. And this case has lots of nice features to allow cables to come through where it still looks good. You don't see too many exposed wires, and helps you just to manage everything and make sure that everything is properly installed. One thing to note in that regard is that we want to make sure we're not pulling cables too taut or anything. We're going to talk about that here in a minute when we flip this thing over and look at the back side. But part of it is cable management is not only just the look of it, the aesthetic, but also functional. Providing a good bin radius and securing the cables is going to help to ensure that you're not putting strain on the connector, which could damage the pins or of the connector itself or the board, and as well as just protecting the cable itself. And that's going to go a long ways in terms of helping increase the lifespan of your PC. So let's flip this over and look at the back side and look at the cable management there. Again, with this case, I really like all the features it has for cable management. There are plenty of places to connect zip ties to help guide the cables in a path that makes sense. We've got cables. This is our CPU power cable up here coming from the board, and we've got cables for fans, both power and RGB, coming through. And again, we don't want to stress or strain any of these cables, so we want them to kind of bend naturally. Since these are not all custom cables with custom lengths, there are sometimes we've got to deal with some access, and so letting it kind of loop naturally and not crimping it at any point is going to be what you want to do. We've got lots of zip ties to keep everything in place. And you can kind of see here with these RGB, this is a little, just a little RGB point that we can connect lots of little hub for our RGB. And you can see we let the cables just naturally come up and bend the way that, you know, we're not putting too much strain on them, and it takes relief off of the connectors so that they're not stressed. And you can just kind of see all of the cable management. Again, we try and keep it clean, which makes it easier if we need to do any maintenance, if we need to replace a component or anything at any point. It's a lot easier once the cables are well managed. And you know, we're using some of the features here for you know, cable management for zip ties, and then there's plenty of room on this case for additional drives, SSD drives, things like that. And has a lot of nice built-in features for just managing all the cables, making sure that everything is looking good and is going to perform for us. So that's really it. Just wanted to kind of show that. And next we'll get into the software.